Boys, Final Fantasy 2 don't pull no punches. You just did name your characters, and all of a sudden you're in what looks to be a somewhat serious battle. But I'm going to assume this is like a tutorial fight, so let's just each pick a monster to one-shot, and then, you know, we'll get on our merry way, having a good time, being the quote-unquote warriors of light, question mark? That's a lot more damage than my characters seem to have HP. I'm just noticing. Good lord. Alright, Maria. She tried. Even Leon got the turn. That's rare. Alright. Well, Maria's in the back row, so I'm sure Leon can handle this crowd while she pecks them down with arrows. Or he could be one shot and they could all take turns beating this corpse. Alright, Maria. This is it. You're going to have to put the team on your back. The playthrough counts on it. It's going to be a short series if we game over right here. Boys, howdy. Talk about a cinematic scripted sequence. Since that starting fight ended up to this point, all I've done is press the A button to advance text boxes, son. You didn't get anything like that in Final Fantasy 1, all this rich narrative and lore. Speaking of which, if you've been ignoring this story so far, basically the Palamecian Empire attacked the kingdom of Fynn, and all the people had to flee, including the princess of Fynn right here. And our four characters are just four youths from Fynn that their parents were killed, and they're orphans, and they're like, well, we're war orphans in a JRPG. I guess we've got to go kill the final boss. So that was the plan. So yeah. Also, Maria's brother Leon, who was in our party to start with, seems to be missing, but I'm sure we'll find him real soon, son. We'll all join up, share a pint, a few laughs, and be on our way. Speaking of which, we want to join the Rebel Army, so we need to know the cool password. So this game has a dialogue system, so you can learn keywords and ask other people about them, and they'll be like, oh, hey, hell yeah, I know about that keyword. Wild Rose, son, it's good shit. So now if we ask her... Okay. So basically they're telling us to go back to Fynn, the kingdom that was taken over. This is Minwu. We'll be good friends with him later, but for right now he needs to stand here by the princess and look cool. Speaking of which, look at this cool bleached red mage walking around. Bleach mage, we'll call him. Okay. Spoilers, Minwu has a canoe, but we're not allowed to have it until we... This is basically the equivalent of going up to the Temple of Fiends and kicking Garland in the dick at the beginning of Final Fantasy 1. What have you got to say, old man? Well, ain't you just optimistic? He's basically like, you should just stay here forever. Like I did. I started 70 years ago, and I ain't stopped. So anyway, while we're here, let's go talk to the King of Fynn, who, spoilers, got shot like in the left ass cheek with an arrow. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm trying to talk to your legs. Okay. Oh no, he's like, I must make ye old Skyrim jokes. What do you know about Wild Rose? Well, he don't know nothing. Are you not in the rebellion? I guess you are the king. Okay, well, y'all do a good job of standing here not making eye contact with him, son. Alright, boys, we're dillying and dallying. I got to play this video game for y'all. Let's go take this item that's clearly ours. A potion for me. What do you got to say, table man? Prince Gordon. He sounds like a huge loser. I hope we never meet him. Son, the town got sacked, boys. They lost 15 yards. Alright, well look at this ninja standing out here just a bebopping and scatting around. Oh, excuse me, that's Paul, the legendary thief. That's quite the legendary thief name. What do you know about Wild Rose? Son, he's like Robin Hood. God bless his heart. You got any good advice for me, Blue Shirtman? The town of... Okay. Well, that's good to know. Can I wash my face? No. Already. No wonder people say this is inferior to Final Fantasy 1. Who's this asshole standing behind the Rebel HQ? Oh, this is Prince Gordon of Kashawn, we'll call it. But that's a kingdom that also got sacked by the Empire. And this guy just ran away because he's a huge loser. What do you know about Wild Rose? Yeah, that's right. We're going to join the rebellion and be the main characters. So you just stand here like a sack of fucking peeled potatoes. Maybe we'll come back here to glare at you some more. I'm glad he's never going to be a party member. What do you got to say, little feller? Well, I didn't realize that the legendary thief had such good PR. A skilled blacksmith. Something's been bothering him. Is it the fact that he's not handing me the best weapons in the game? Hey, old man, this little kid said that you're cool. You're just a baddie old man. What do you know about Wild Rose? He's like, aha, I was merely pretending. I'm the best blacksmith in the country. Speaking of which, I guess instead of just wandering around town, making up backstories for NPCs, I could actually advance the game for y'all. So what kind of provisions do we want? We start with $400, son. They should have done that in every Final Fantasy. But I believe the first two are the only ones. I don't believe Final Fantasy 3 you start with $400. Son, the tradition died so quickly. How do we want to outfit this crowd? Well, first of all, we got to decide what job class we want them to be. Because in Final Fantasy 2, you don't just pick a job class right at the beginning and you're locked into it, son. You can grow your characters however you want. But they do kind of start out like in a pre-pep. Like they all went to community college for JRPG protagonists, so they've got like a little bit of credit. So Furion comes with a sword and shield, which basically makes him a paladin. I think if you go to church at least one Sunday a month is the only other requirement, and even then he could probably talk his way out of it. So we're going to make him paladin / red mage, because we're going to teach him white magic and maybe a little bit of black magic, maybe a fire spell. Don't tell Jesus. Maria is suited to be a black mage. She has the highest intellect to start with. She's equipped with a bow. Excuse me, I clicked on the wrong character. But the problem is, the biggest complaint I have about this game is that so much equipment has magic penalty that makes your magic less accurate. And the bow gives you like 70% or some crazy amount magic penalty. So if you're going to be casting spells with her, you need her to unequip it first. So we're going to basically just make her a black mage. We'll probably teach her some white magic too. Black mage, white mage. Maybe I'll give her a dagger. Maybe she can be a thief too. Who says? Who's to tell Maria what her job class should be? Gus doesn't like to raise a fuss or swear a cuss, but he starts with an axe equip, but I actually just make him a monk usually. So you can just punch and his hands will level up. Oh, I should tell you all about the leveling system. There's a lot about this game y'all need explained to you properly. I just realized, and I guess I'm the one that has to do it. So your characters have all these stats, and then at the bottom they have individual weapon skills for each class of weapon, including shields and your hands. And the more you use them in battle, the more they level up. Every 100 skill points, they go up a rank, all the way up to rank 16. And for each level or rank, you get like that many hits. So if you, you're probably not going to get to 16 unless you grind or use tricks and shenanigans that I'll tell you about later. But you know, I'm just saying, you ain't got to be locked in. You ain't got to be like, well, he's a black belt, he can't cast no white magic. I don't know why you're Clint Eastwood or John Wayne or whoever. Listen here, Pilgrim. Around I come from, monks don't cast white magic. Well, in Final Fantasy 2, they can. old stereotypical cowboy actor because Gus is going to be our monk white mage. So now that we've figured out their career paths, how are we going to equip them? I do want her to... Yeah, so let's see. We'll put this bow in her. So the way Man, I didn't realize how front-loaded this playthrough was going to be with explanations, but I'll explain it to you when we get in the battle, the way the inventory shit works. Okay, with our $400... If I could walk over this bridge. Oh, by the way, I'm playing a patched ROM. I mean, I'm playing this on an actual Japanese Famicom, and I'm just so good at reading Japanese that even to you, the viewer, it appears as Gaijin English letters. But the ROM, anyway, the ROM patch also lets you dash, so I wouldn't normally be able to do this. I do love that Firian's overworld sprite is just the Final Fantasy 1 fighter. I'd show you the other characters, but you can't change the party order. You can only put people in the front and back row, which I'll explain later, my god. Alright, I would like to buy Maria a magic spell. If I sell you this axe, good god. That's another reason I like to take the axe off of Gus, because you can get loads of money for it. That's going to be just enough to get a Blizzard Scroll for Maria and a Cure Scroll for Firian, with 50 gil left over, burning the hole in my pocket. Alright, before I start using all this stuff, let's walk outside so you can at least hear different music. Alright, I wanted you all to have like a solid listening to the overworld music before I started talking over it all the time. Except Sid had to fly by drunk in his fucking airship and ruin it, but we'll get to him later. Anyway, the way magic works in Final Fantasy 2, you'll see all our characters have MP. You're like, MP? I thought Final Fantasy characters had spell charges like the Dungeons & Dragons, which I don't play because I don't enjoy going to hell when I die. Well, anyway, in this game you just find tomes and you can teach the spells to anyone. A Cure spell for the Paladin Red Mage. A Blizzard spell for the Black Mage / Thief / maybe a little bit White Mage on the weekends. So, oh yeah, and you can just save on the overworld map. You don't have to sleep at an inn to save, so that's a good thing. Magic spells, I'll go ahead and tell you that before we get into a battle, also have skill levels, and they also go up to 16. So, there you go. Alright, enough of this talking and jabbering of the gibber variety, as Mr. T would describe it. Let's just get out here and start fighting. So, and that's what Final Fantasy is all about. When you start Final Fantasy, you just got to go out in the woods, start punching shit. Look at these fucking hornets. I like, the battle music. I do like that it starts with the same little doot-to-doos. I also love how to fit Blizzard into English. They had to like make these little squeeze together letters. God bless their hearts. Alright, we do want everyone to attack a different target, because just like Final Fantasy 1, if the target dies and somebody else goes to attack it, it'll just say ineffective. Oh no, envenomed. You can punch hornets to death at level 1. Which, there is no levels in this game, by the way. That's another thing we need to get to. 53 gil. Intellect down, strength up, agility up. My god, I've never gained such good levels in my first fight. So, what you just witnessed is Final Fantasy 2's equivalent. I don't really need to save after every random battle, but that was such a good level up because we got agility. The way it works in Final Fantasy 2, and the reason your characters could be any job you want, is because they just gain attributes and skills based on what they do in battle. So if you swing your sword around or punch a lot, you're going to start gaining strength. And if you cast a lot of magic, you're going to start gaining intellect, and your magic's going to skill up. As for your HP and MP, as it's decreased in battle, it has a chance to, at the end of battle, so the more you get damaged, the more likely at the end of the fight, your max HP will go up. And the more MP you spend or lose in a fight, the more likely your max MP will go up. So that's how you build your characters. It's very straightforward when you think about it. I mean, it's not really that different from Final Fantasy 1 other than giving you more options. Because when you think about it, as you're gaining these stats up, it's kind of the equivalent of just slaughtering a bunch of enemies and getting generic experience. And then at, set intervals of experience, they basically increase all your stats and give you access to more spells based on, how high you get that level. I didn't mean to make Maria punch, but that's fine. So, I mean, you can play this game just like any other JRPG. You can go quote-unquote grind by just fighting monsters and using the abilities you want to use. You don't have to do anything special or any kind of exploits. And the game is built to be played like that. But the problem is when you get to 80s video game programming shenanigans, we'll call them. Because here's the thing, I'll show you on the next fight. One of the main problems at this low level, though, is that Maria is not using enough MP by only getting one Blizzard cast per battle to really increase her max MP. So, oh yeah, I was going to show you all how to cheese this shit. Anyway, your skill ups don't come when you do the ability. Like when I tell Furion to attack with his sword, he doesn't gain a point when he swings the sword. He gains the point when I tell him to do it. And if I back up and go back to selecting his ability, every time I do this, he gains skill points. So if you really want to, here at the beginning of the game, you could sit here for potentially hours and just do this shit and get all of your skills up, and you'll just steamroll the rest of the game. And then you'll be like, man, this sure was boring. Final Fantasy 2 is the worst. I can't wait to go on YouTube and make an original video talking about how Final Fantasy 2 is the worst game. Oh, you can do it with magic too, by the way, is what I'm demonstrating for you. Now this is useful, don't get me wrong. And I do use it for certain things, but I don't just sit here. The first time I played this game, I did what every online guide said to do, and I sat there and exploited that shit. But you don't really have to, is the point I want to get across. Look, her intellect went up. She's real smart. Okay, now that I'm done explaining the basics, let's get on to playing the game. But yeah, you could sit around. You can target your own party members, so you could sit around beating your own characters up and getting them HP. And speaking of which, the way the N works in this game is real interesting. So if we were to go to sleep right now, the only thing we're missing, Maria's missing a couple of MP, Gus is missing 9 HP, so she'll charge us, well, if we look at her, 5 gil. But it's based on how much HP and MP you're missing. So you can just cast a cure spell on Gus. Let's see how that affected the price of the N. That lady's over there doing the most shit with an abacus trying to figure this shit out. Look at that. Saved a gil. Save a life. Oh, you also notice a big departure from Final Fantasy 1. When we walk into shops and inns, they're like actual buildings. It's not like you walk in here and you're in that, basically what is the battle view with a shopkeeper. As far as items go, every item shop in the game sells the same stuff, but as you can see, it's very expensive. Even Mr. Dink would find it a bit excessive. Of course, these are the more regular consumables. And yeah, you can just buy elixirs. Of course, you go win the lottery, but you can. They do have ethers in this game, but they balance it by them being crazy expensive. Oh, and the inventory system is kind of like Mario RPG. We only have this many item slots. And if we want to make room for more, we have to throw things in this little trash can. But I think we'll be all right. And the way it works, you can't just use any item in battle. I was supposed to show you all that in battle. Look, I'm front-loading all this explanation for why Final Fantasy 2 is unique. So that way for the rest of the play. There goes Sid again. Drunk as a skunk. My God. I can't believe that man got a recurring role in every Final Fantasy after this one. He must have charisma. One goblin. I'm insulted. But I'll kill it anyway. Dead. Goblin fail. That's what we're going to tell him when we take him to the hospital. We're like, yeah, he fell into the freezer and got a giant icicle shoved up his ass. Don't know how that happened. Oh, by the way, Maria gained max MP. Look, she's already up to 10. I'm not as worried about raising this character's stats right now because we're going to be joined by a good friend here in a bit. and we'll be able to do more efficient stat leveling at that point. Plus, that good friend comes with things that we can sell for cash money. Don't tell him. Don't warn him in advance. But yeah, this little opening is just, we got to go up here to the town around Castle Finn, which is being occupied by Imperial soldiers. And then just kind of walk around while not interacting with the Imperial soldiers, because they're quite tough at this point in the game. They're not as tough as the horsemen we fought at the beginning, but we still couldn't fight them right now. You're like, that sounds like loser talk, man. You need to go in there and get your ass kicked. A little stopover town while y'all crowd got to talk about. Gatria. Who the hell picked that name? You crowd need to have like some kind of town council meeting and see if you can't vote to get that changed. What about you, old man? Are you more pleasant than the one back in the throne room? Yeah, we noticed. Our dead parents noticed too. Jackass. How about you? Okay. Well, that's actually good advice. What's in this house? Ooh. Oh, if your characters fall, you can come here and pray to the Venus de Milo statue or whatever, and she'll bring them back to life for free. What a steal. I wanted to examine that well, but this fella's guarding it with his fucking life. Good. Okay. We didn't really need to stop here. I figured I'd get Maria back to full MP, so she'll have enough to keep casting. Keep on casting, as they say, at Black Magic Skull. I like how they've started the little tradition of your characters walking over to the bed. Also, it's a real quick sleep. It's like the inner Tron and Chrono Trigger, son. But you're still hungry. I guess we'll save our game. We have 4 save slots, so we could stagger that shit. Alright. Back to Finn. We gotta walk around this lake, because we don't have a canoe yet. Ambushed! You ambushed us so you could run away, and then miss us with all of your attacks. The best kind of enemy ambush. The incompetent kind. Dead. Once his fist skill starts getting higher levels, it snowballs pretty damn quick. Hornets. If I wanted to, I could cast Blizzard on all of them, but unfortunately at the level it's at, even with these enemies low HP, it probably wouldn't kill all of them. So, Firion just got venomed, which if this was Final Fantasy 1 and we got poisoned, I'd be throwing a big fucking fit about how he had to waste like a 75 gil pure potion. But luckily, Venom is a lesser poison status effect, because there's genuine poison in the game that persists after battle. Oh no, he's got the little pink elephants, drunk, old Looney Tunes cartoon debuff. It's a long name. I don't know how they would fit it into English. I'm sure it only takes like 3 katakana to explain it in the original Japanese. So that venom will go away at the end of battle. Maria got real smart during that fight. Well, that's a good thing. We can kind of cheese the encounters. Every time you cure in this game, your step counter to the next fight is reset? Am I lying to myself? Maybe you got to use a potion from the menu. I think that's it. Or maybe we just got really unlucky and only had to go 2 steps. The hell do I know? Yeah, you better fucking run away. Gus looked at him and like cracked his knuckles. You're punching the air, boys. But he still felt it. The nice thing about Final Fantasy 2 is you don't mind your characters taking damage, because it just means they have potential to gain more max HP at the end of the fight. The actual formula is like 1/8. If you lose 1/8 of the amount of HP you start at the fight with at the end of the fight, you have a chance to gain HP. A lot of math in Final Fantasy 2. I could see why it's not too popular. Dead. Leg eater. That's real unpleasant if you think about it, walking through the woods and one of these purple things right around your leg and just a bit of chunk out of your shin would be real hard to bite. They'd probably bite the back of your calf now that I'm thinking about it. If I was some sort of gangly, horrific, vine nightmare creature, that's probably what I'd go through. We won. Maria just can't stop getting smart, boys. Alright, we should probably save just in case I get my ass kicked in town, because there are captains, Imperial captains walking around. And if we interact with any of them, we get into a real dangerous skirmish. None of the shops have, you can't buy anything at them right now. We just got to sneak around to the pub, son. I'm telling you, once we get there and all this, just wait for all this to blow over, son, just like Shaun of the Dead. I feel like Maria might be getting a HP up at the end of the fight. Just saying. Santa Claus might be bringing you an HP up. He missed. He didn't. Stamina and HP up. Hell yeah. Boys and howdy. So I believe stamina is how much HP you'll gain when you get an HP up. Because hers was at 5 when she got the HP up. Okay, enough about maths. There'll be a little bit more about maths later, but enough about maths for right now. Alright, down at the pub. Hey, you crowd. The jukebox here only plays Chumbawamba's Tum Thumping, and no one has ever complained. Hey, buddy. He's like, don't walk back here, idiot. Oh, she's gonna come here and find the dog shit out of me. What do you know about Wild Rose? He's like, oh, you must be cool guy rebels. He just yells it. Alright, he's gonna let us into the secret room in the back where Roger Rabbit and Eddie Valiant are hiding. Oh, also, Prince Scott kind of standing on the end of his bed. He's also a bleached red mage. Boys, everybody just assumes that we're real bad people. Hold on. I'll advance his dialogue in about a moment. Okay. What do you know about the Wild Rose, my man? Okay, so he's Prince Scott. You know Gordon, who we were making fun of earlier, standing there behind the Rebel HQ, talking about how he wishes he was big and strong, like his big brother Scott. I'm assuming you're reading this dialogue as I advance through it. Well, anyway, this is his brother Scott, who, spoilers, is mortally wounded. He gives us his ring and tells us to tell Princess Hilda that he loved her. But then he realizes that's kind of a shitty thing to do, considering he's dying right now. So maybe we won't tell her that. Oh, have you seen Leon, by the way, our cool 4th party member that everybody loves the most? He's like, no, I never played Final Fantasy 2 because it's the worst one. My love of Hilda is rivaled only by my hatred of Final Fantasy 2. Ugh. And just like that, Scott was gone. But we get his 3 potions. Why can't I take that cool sword that's hanging on the wall, by the way? It must just be decorative. Alright, when we get back and show Princess Hilda this cool ring and tell her how Scott died saying that he just wanted to be good friends, she'll have to let us into the rebel army. We'll be one step closer to beating the game. I don't want you crowd to look at me as I'm leaving. I'm real self-conscious at the pub, especially when it's full of Imperial captains that kick my ass. Okay. We made it in and out. I scrolled all the way around just to click on item by accident. We need to stagger them saves, boys. Alright. Let's run our ass back to town. I probably should have cured Maria outside the fight, but although this does give Firion a chance to gain MP, he probably won't, but it gives him a chance to do it. Alright, you always got to remember who your other character attacked, so you don't double up. Magic's real powerful against the low-level enemies in this game. I just want you all to know that. Look at that fat heel! Hell yes, Spirit went up. So Spirit is like intelligence for white magic. 1 goblin. I'm genuinely insulted. I'm not gonna lie. Preemptive strike, hell yeah. Obliterate him with icy magic. Ice that goblin. When Preemptive Strike, the Final Fantasy cover band that does collaborations with Wolves Can't Fly, the future existing Tenfey inspired indie band Darling, when they do their cover, their lyrical cover of Final Fantasy II's battle theme, they'll have to call it Ice That Goblin. Or just call it whatever the hell you want, I don't know. I assume they're going to exist in like the 2200s, so it's not like I can be there to judge you. They may have developed a Tenfey AI by that point. They've got to find a way to balance the Haint Bad protocols with the Might Bit Gooder protocols, son. It causes an overflow glitch every time. Leg Eater. Fail. We're getting all kinds of cash money. I'm trying to remember how I had. Okay, yeah. Oh, I still haven't explained to you how items work in battle. Here. See if this you can pick up on context clues of it. Oh, I got to sort my inventory right. There is no sort button, but you can at least move the items around. The ring belongs in the garbage, but we'll put it right here. Oh, by the way, these key items like the ring, or most of them, it's going to be in our inventory the whole game. So that's just a permanent item slot we've lost. What a disaster. If only there was a fat chocobo here to hold my items for me. Can I make it to town before I get in a fight? Well, I could if I didn't walk an L shape around it. We get one punishment shame goblin. All right, we want Maria to attack. Well, I'd like for her to gain bow skill. So what we can do is switch to the bow. So you can actually change equipment in battle in this one, but you can only hold 2 items. Or in the case of the bow, 1 item because it's a 2-handed item. But if you put consumables there, the character can use them, although they can only use them on themselves. There you go. A little bit more explanation. The reason we don't keep the bow in Maria's hands all the time is, as I said before, it gives her such a strong magic penalty. Does that appear on this screen? Or is it just one of those things you have to know or have read a wiki? This game must have been a confusing fucking nightmare to play back when it originally came out. How's everyone's HP? Gus could be used topping off. Boom. 13 gil, I can afford it. I've got in excess of 400 gil. We've already made back our starting gil, boy. We're already in the green. Living the dream. Eating refried beans. They ain't bad, son. Okay. Everything's cool. I still want her to be gaining magic more than I want her to be gaining bow skills. So let's put this over here. Now with the elemental damage spells, the penalty is not as bad because it's like an accuracy penalty. And if you're attacking an enemy with an element they're weak to, it ignores that. So it's not always bad. The heavier armor also gives you a magic penalty. I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, because, I mean, you don't want a character to be a strong black mage, but also be walking around in, like, full Genji gear and still cast as efficiently. So I understand it from a balance point of view. It's just a shame, because, like, the shields lower it a lot, too. So, well, damn, Maria's going to be gaining all kinds of HP. We'll probably let Maria use daggers and staves and bows. Staves and maces use the same weapon skill as well. You're going to be a Final Fantasy II expert when you're done with it. You're going to be on Slumdog Millionaire. Damn, she got MP and HP. Hell yeah. Damn, she's past Furion in max HP. And he's the main spiky-haired main character, dude. He looks very different in all the remakes of this game. They gave him like a cool bandana and a cape in later incarnations. Which I guess he has in Amano's art. So, yeah, it makes sense. Envenomed. One problem, as far as leveling up Furion's, like, HP and such, is there's a genuine bug in the game that the second and third party slots, which are permanently filled by Maria and Gus, as I mentioned previously, are much more likely to be targeted than the first or fourth. So unless we put Maria and Gus in the back row, Furion's not going to get hit as much. But we want Furion to be targeted by attacks because that's how your agility goes up. And Furion's agility determines how often we get ambushed and how well we can run away from battles. So eventually we're going to just have him in the front, tanking a lot of hits. But for right now, we've got everybody in the front because I want everybody to gain HP. See, you got to think, you got to plan ahead. Final Fantasy II is all about delayed gratification. Alright, we made it back to town. We're going to rest up after we cure ourselves first, of course. You get a fat heal. And I should have shown you all the price difference. It would have been a little bit more substantial right there. Later in the game, when you've got like hundreds, if not thousands of HP, it can get very expensive unless you just cure yourself. Innkeepers hate it. It's like right to repair. Innkeepers are always lobbying to take away the right to cure. Hey Gordon, guess what? I met your Oni-chan. And he died, but he gave me this ring, which makes me your new Oni-chan, son. That's right. You better go to the store and get me some Pocky and melon soda. I think that's what people do for their Oni-chan. Or is that just your senpai? Your Oni-chan's kind of like your senpai when you think about it, son. This is all very deep and respectful of Nippon culture, I guarantee. Don't run in the throne room. What you got to say now, old man? Yeah, whatever. Okay. Hey, remember that guy that you thought was super fucking cool? Well, he got shot in both ass cheeks by arrows, and unlike the king here, he couldn't endure it. Son. Also, he said this ring was ours and we're allowed to keep it. Did he say anything else? Yeah. He said that y'all should just, hang out sometime. Go al fresco. Split the bill. Just good friends. Although he did die clutching a Dakimakura of you in a chainmail bikini, but I'm thinking that was just ironic. All right, Mithril. What do you know about it? So they want us to go figure out why their Mithril supply has been cut off. They had a man named Joseph who lived in a town called Salaman, way up north, across the sea. Well, kind of across the sea. You can't walk there. It's sea adjacent. So she's sending us, but she's bringing we can bring our boy Minwu with us. There you go, boys. Not only does he come with a magic canoe, which is ours now, he can never take that away. So I put it down here at the bottom. I'm making the game. I like that the game uses the same angry inventory noise when you mess up. The way the items are sorted actually goes left to right like this. So that's why I'm laying them out like this. It all makes sense in some strange capacity. So Minwu is a white mage through and through. And if you look at him, he has all kinds of mid-level white magic. So basically, this is your first quote-unquote serious adventure. So they give you a handicap with this guy who can keep your party alive pretty much the whole time. And, unless you intentionally let them get killed. So we're going to take advantage of that to become more powerful before, spoilers, he leaves our party. I do want him to learn at least one offensive magic spell. So we're going to get rid of fear. I'm never going to cast that. Into the trash it goes. So let's arrange his shit. We're going to want the wall spell here. Because this goes across like this and your magic menu in battle is 4 across, basically every 5th one like this is going to be on the left side. So keep that in mind when you're putting the spells that you enjoy the most in easy to click spaces. Alright, I want Cure here, Life here. Basuna can go down here. Should I even bother explaining Basuna? Now, Final Fantasy veterans will recognize Esuna. It'll come up eventually, I'm sure. We also want Sap to be right here, because that's going to be incredibly useful coming up. So you... Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we got this. We know what we're doing. I understand how video games work. Yeah, that should be good. Another good thing about Minwoo is he's got a bronze Curious, which is now mine. He's got a conch shell, or conch shell, as reasonable people say, and he's got one ether. Since ethers are worth a lot of money, that means we can just go pawn that shit immediately and be set. I'm going to take your staff too. It's just like the princess is like, take my most trusted advisor Minwoo. His powerful white magics will protect you. And we're like, all right. And then we immediately just strip him. We're like, I'm going to the pawn shop, baby. Lottery tickets and Mad Dog 2020. Boys, it's a real weekend. All right, let's head over to the magic store before we start throwing this new money we've come across around. How much will you give me for this ether? That's a good amount. How about this conch shell? That's a good amount. How about these potions? Boys and howdy. All right, the bronze Curious we are going to equip to Firion. Boom. Then we can take his hand-me-down leather armor, throw that on Maria. Bop. And I guess her undershirt she was wearing we can give to Minwoo. Boom. As far as Minwoo's staff, I was going to give it to Maria so she could start training up her staff skill. But I'm not that worried about that right now, to tell you the truth. Tell you what, you hang on to this, buddy. Although it does give him a slight magic penalty, so keep it on your belt. Keep it on your holster. All right, now that we've got a little bit of spending money, I want a cure for Gus. I want a fire scroll for Minwoo. I want a fire scroll for Maria. And I want a fire scroll for... Actually, we don't need to buy another fire scroll. I got a plan. Item. Fire. Minwoo. Booyah. He's like, oh no. I'm going to lose my white mage accreditation. Then the cure spell for Gus. Hell yeah. He finally unlocked the white mage sub job for his monk. He would never get a party in Final Fantasy XI is the sad part. And then this other fire scroll, give to Firion. Look at that red mage. All around, son. Okay, cool. Put this right here. You're good. And actually, we do want a cure scroll for Maria eventually, but we're not going to worry about it right this second. Cool. Head outside. Save our game. Oh, wait, we were rotating saves. That's right. That's what cool kids do. Boom. Oh, no, I didn't realize there was already one in the third slot. Fourth slot for me, please. All right, let's get in a fight with our new best friend. And I'll show you a little secret trick you can do with old Minwoo. So, as usual, y'all attack. Y'all cast spells. You attack. But Minwoo is going to cast Sap. And he's going to cast it on our entire party. Oh me and oh my. I hope he gets a turn. Now I think about it. This crowd loves to go first just to ruin my plans. No, stop. Thank God he missed. Here we go. MP fail. MP fail. MP fail. Look at that, boys. Seems somehow mysteriously all of our MPs decreased. What a shame. It would be so tragic if at the end of the fight all of us got MP ups. That would look real suspicious when the JRPG auditors show up. They're like, we show that your entire party went 5 consecutive battles, all gaining max MP ups. How is that possible? You went from 5 max MP to 70? In 10 minutes? You didn't think that would trip a flag on our servers? But seriously, Sap is very useful. It's a white magic spell. We'll get a copy of it eventually and teach it to either our red mage or our white mage. Magic power up, MP up, MP up, MP up. Magic power up, MP up. My God! Look at that. The only problem is this is rather expensive, as Mr. Dink would say, because we want to restore our MP so we can lose it again, but we have to sleep at the inn, and MP costs more to restore than HP over time. Yeah, that's Steep bill, son, just like General Pepper said in fucking Star Fox 64. Alright. Just that one round of boosting everybody's MP should be enough to get us to the next stage of our playthrough. So I'm not going to sit here and make you watch me grind MP up, although I would really like to, and it would be immensely satisfying. We'll just do it as we walk. Walk in casting, they call it. By the way, we have this canoe now. No, I was one step from the river. They stole everything from me. Let's cast magic with Furion. He never gets to cast magic. Probably because he just learned magic. Alright. I mean, we are going to keep on sapping. Always be sapping is what they taught Minwoo at Magic's White Magic School. The biggest problem with casting it on the whole party, and the reason our end bill was so expensive, was it took such a chunk of MP from Minwoo. And he's got more than enough to get us through this little Mithril Mine adventure. So we're going to start using it individually. And that way we won't be flat fucking broke. We'll have so much MP, but be so poor. It's like I have 400 MP and level 1 Blizzard is all I can cast. Done. So the Empower up that we keep getting is kind of like stamina, but for your magic. And basically, yeah, it shows how much max MP you'll gain anytime you get a max MP up. Oh, check it out. We can see how our levels are doing. We're up to 55 sword and shield on him. How about you, Maria? How you been doing these days? She's got 6 punch skill because I accidentally punched with her like one time. Gus. 48 hands. I like to see it. Oh, by the way, now that we have a 4th party member, we can use the select cancel exploit with Gus. Because before, when we selected Gus's turn, it immediately started. So you can only min-max Gus when you've got a 4th party member, which isn't all the time. How's your Blizzard spell coming along? Hell yeah! So the first time you use an ability in a fight, it gets a bigger increase. Each additional time, it usually only gives you 1 point. But the first time, it tends to give you a lot more. There he goes, boys. Try not to put her in a ditch this time. Lord help me. I'll have that airship one day, don't you worry. Anyway, you don't get into battles in the rivers. So if you're getting around this starting area, it can be real convenient. Alright. Here's the next town. Look at that. It's a boat, but unfortunately it's not our boat, so we're not allowed to just take it, even though we're the main characters and we should be entitled to it. For 32 gil, he'll take us to the next town. We could walk there, but it would be a huge pain in the ass, and I'd rather just spend 32 gil. What do you pirates got to say? Puffed. So this is kind of like the equivalent of Provoca, Final Fantasy 1. See, it's like pottery. It rhymes. Gus is a funnier character than we've ever had before. If we can get him working, if we can get his hands real strong and powerful, and some decent white magic levels on him, I think we'll have a good time. Oh god, I didn't realize one of these pirates is going to hit on Maria. How barbaric. I actually want to buy a blink scroll from here and a shell scroll, but I need to save money for something that's coming up, so we're not going to spend any more for now. Take that boat ride. So I'm not steering this, we're just on for the ride, son. Luckily, while we're taking the ferry, we won't get into nautical battles. I guess the pirates are just fighting off everything. Alright, let's explore this town. What you got to say, lady? I like how there's somebody standing at the entrance to every town that just very politely tells you the name of the town and what they're about. So if we pay this man 32 gil, he'll let us ride back, which we don't need right this second. Although speedrunners preemptively pay. Who's hanging out here at the pub? It's our boy Sid, son. He goes straight from the pub to that airship. It's not healthy. Alright, what an airship? What do you know about airships? He's like, only that I have the only one, and it makes me the best. I very conveniently needed to burp at that exact moment to give Sid characterization. You know anything about Wild Roses? You know anything about Mithril? Guess not. And this is the little feller you can pay. Basically, you can rent the airship, and so it'll fly you to one of these destinations and just drop you off, and then he leaves. So, I mean, it could be convenient to get around if you really hate walking in random battles. But right now, we're okay. We're trying to get toughened up. Make our wallet a little bit thicker. Have you seen the airship? I've seen nothing but it. Every time I leave the house, I think Sid is stalking me. What are you doing hiding over here in the bushes? Everybody tells me things that I already know. Okay, yeah, baths. We'll be over there in just a little bit. Enemies get a little tougher over here. The goblins in this region are green and purple, son. You can thank your doctor later. We've got to fight them to death first. Also, you need to sap my boy Gus. My boy Gus needs max MP. Don't have to worry about getting Gus's MP super high, because the main purpose of him being a slash white mage is for out of combat curing. And we're going to teach him at least one buff, probably blink. He'll be in charge of blinking. He's probably going to get him a fat stack of MP up at the end of this fight, too. Now I'm thinking about it. Let's get him a few more levels on his hands since the other characters have cheated and gotten a little advantage on him. We're not worried about increasing any of Minwu's stats or spell levels. I mean, if his fire magic eventually levels up, it'd be convenient, but he'll do all right without it. Hell yeah. HP and MP up. The double. The Mark Rutsu stat up, we call it. Well, there's some kind of crane, some kind of loon come trudging towards us. How horrifying. Once again, let's get Gus just a couple of uses. That's actually how I recommend you use the cancel select exploit. Is throughout the game, like if you're going to attack with a character, just attack, cancel, do it like 2 or 3 times. It only takes like a second more, and you'll start scaling up. And then when you're at a comfortable level, you don't have to worry about it. And if you find a new weapon you want to use, help you level up, I guess. I don't know why I'm having to defend Final Fantasy II so much, but I feel like it has fallen upon me. I'd rather play this than 13, definitely. Alright, this is the town of Salaman. We're not wealthy enough to buy what we want to buy, but we can come in here. Get the hell out of my way. Oh, I guess I should talk to you. You should tell me about town. Alright, all the menfolk have been kidnapped by the Empire and forced to work in the Mithril mine, which you'll remember we were being sent to investigate. Alright, she's Joseph's wife, I believe. She doesn't know anything about wild roses. Hey, Joseph, the princess is wondering why you don't come around no more with no Mithril. Yeah, Wild Rose, idiot. Well, he doesn't believe that we're real grown-up main characters. We're technically the Warriors of Light. Well, he's not going to tell us who Sid is. I've played Final Fantasy before. I know who Sid is. Idiot. Oh no, I missed the door. How embarrassing. I like that this town is real snowy. There weren't any real snowy towns in Final Fantasy 1. Not many NPCs wandering around chatting it up. Alright. We need to... Oh, there he goes. Joseph's just standing in his yard, giving him a wink and a nod. Being like, yeah, I didn't tell him that you're the cool airship guy. And Sid's like, I specifically wanted you to tell everyone I'm the cool airship guy. What are you doing? Alright. We need to just do some good old-fashioned money grinding. Soldiers have a lot of defense. So with the levels we're currently at, our melee's not going to do much against them. But luckily we've got 2 magic casters. Well, we got more than 2, but we've got 2 that are going to be casting magic at the moment. Hell yeah, Maria's agility. I mean, we want everyone to gain agility. It's most important that Furion gain it. You gain agility at the end of fight by being targeted by a lot of enemy attacks. So that's why it's important, like I said earlier, that Furion gets some time to just sit out front and get shit thrown at him for a little bit. Alright, let's just start punching and flailing about randomly. I don't believe Minwoo could one-shot all of them. If Maria and Minwoo both targeted the entire enemy party, they could probably kill all of them, but it would take a month because you've got to watch that spell animation play out for each enemy individually. It's not swift. Remakes do a better job of just having the spell like do an AoE animation that hits all of them. Well, Gus got real sad he took that 2 damage. Furion hadn't got 1 HP up yet. God bless his heart. He's trying. You attack that. You blizzard that. You attack that. And you, my boy, are going to cast a fire spell. Dead. Graveyard dead. If I had made this English ROM hack, that's what I would have done. I just somehow fit I'd had it not even say the enemy's name. It would have just said Graveyard Dead. Hell yeah, that was some good cash money we just earned. We want to get up to 1,500, ideally. Alright, Gus, you... Yeah, you cure yourself. Pal. Let's put Maria and Minwoo in the back row. Gus is going to be targeted a lot more than Furion, but it'll give Furion a greater chance than he had before, at the very least. And since Maria and Minwoo are going to be casting from the back row, the way the rows work, I guess I could have explained that for you, although you kind of saw it in the very first battle. But the way the rows work, this is a cheap fight. I just realized we're not going to get a lot of money for it. Immediately, I was like, I don't know if I want to kill this whole crowd. I'll tell you what, I'll do a multicast just for y'all. Lilu Dallas multicast. But the characters in the back row cannot be targeted by enemies just direct physical attacks. They can be targeted by special attacks and magic, and some enemies just fire a bow, including those green and purple goblins. But the downside is the back row characters can't hit with melee attacks either, except for the bow. So that's the only reason we're going to level Maria up with a bow, because there are some good bows later in the game, and it'll just give her something to do if we don't feel like casting magic. We just have to unequip it every time we go to cast spells is what makes it aggravating. Yeah, she can one-shot. Oh, she has Blizzard level 2. I wasn't even paying attention to the fact that her Blizzard magic leveled up. God bless her heart. Oh, that was more money than I expected. So the enemies can drop, they have like a loot table, and they always drop one thing from the table, and some of the entries are different amounts of gil. So that's why we're getting like various amounts. I'm telling you. When you're on Who's Line and Regis Philbin is staring you down for the $1 million question and so smugly, he's like, in Final Fantasy, and the moment he says 2, and the whole audience is like, oh no. Oh, that poor dear is so well and truly fucked. Nobody understands any aspect of Final Fantasy 2 other than that it's the worst Final Fantasy. The most worst Final Fantasy, even. He's like, in Final Fantasy 2, how do you increase your agility? Boys, once we get him to 2 hits, he's probably going to finally be able to start damaging these soldiers. He dropped no gil, which means he dropped garlic. So, I don't know how much you could sell garlic for. Garlic is a usable battle item. Oh, I accidentally didn't take it. What an oversight. I had to grab it and move it into my inventory. I'm such a fool. Anyway, garlic is an item you use in battle, and it damages all undead enemies. And it has a certain % chance to be consumed when you use it. Kind of like the opposite of getting a freebie in Mario RPG when you think about it. Alright, we're going to keep leveling up Furion's fire magic. you can just kill everything. Gus will punch a goblin. Is Gus gonna have to punch a goblin? And Minwu, just target one, because I can't set through 2 AoE fire spells. It'd take a month. Even my boy, the Paladin Red Mage, can one-shot with a fire spell. Damn. Well, thank God I targeted him with Minwu. I didn't expect her to get such a low damage roll on the Goblin Guard. Hell yeah, Furion got targeted. I doubt he's going to gain agility, but it's still real exciting. See, Final Fantasy 2 is the only Final Fantasy where you get real excited when your characters get hit. Well, that's not true. In Final Fantasy 7, when your characters get hit, they gain limit break meter. And in Final Fantasy 8, when your characters get hit, they get closer to low level or critical status, which gives them limit breaks. Oh god, we're ambushed. Please just attack Furion a lot. Do it for me. Do it for the playthrough. If you weren't worried about raising Furion's agility, you could just make Gus your tank. And, I mean, he gains the most HP just naturally throughout the course of the playthrough. But then Furion never gains agility, and then towards the end of the game, you're just constantly getting ambushed, and you can never run away from fights. It's real disheartening. Any of these characters can one-shot all of these goblins with their spells, so I'm just going to throw out 3 AoEs to be done with it. I'll speed it up for y'all, though. Ah, we're getting close to our Gil goal. It's going to solve a lot of our money problems. Just put it that way. I've got more... We need Furion to gain agility so this doesn't keep happening. It's only going to get worse. Agility is one of those stats that levels faster the higher you get it, because you dodge more attacks the higher your agility, and the more attacks you dodge, the more likely you are to gain agility. You got to have agility to make agility is the point I'm trying to get across. I wonder if Gus used his 1 MP to cure the party if he'd gain an MP up. Because technically, using 1 of your current 1 HP or MP is certainly more than an 1/8, which I believe is supposed to be the amount you lose. Or 6. I don't know. Read the wiki. Once again, I'm just going to speed up the AoE for you. Alright, we finally have 1,500. Hell yeah. We finally got our initial investment money. That's gonna pay off in dividends. Doug dividend. So if we come here to this magic boy, we can buy a warp scroll. Now warp is a black magic spell, so let's teach it to Maria. Boom. Hell yeah. And what it does is, outside of combat, it warps you back to the previous floor of the dungeon, just like the warp spell in Final Fantasy 1. And in battle, it has a low % chance to instantly kill enemies. Like, okay, that's real interesting, I guess, but why did you drop 1,500 gil at a time when you could have really used some equipment upgrades? I'm like, I'm glad you asked. Damn, I can't even afford the end. Do I have anything left to pawn? Who's holding something I can sell? Okay, that potion would sell for, what, 25? That might be enough to stay at the inn, boys. Not since baby Jesus was born have crowd been so desperate to stay at an inn. 69, baby. It's a sign from above. In my JRPG, if you stayed in an inn and it cost exactly 69, boys, you get a permanent staff buff. We were left with 1 gil. My last gil. but it's the last one. The only gil that matters is your last one, boys.